What's up, guys? I'm going to be starting a new series called Singular Story Saturdays, and I probably won't put Saturday in the title just because it's too much, but these will be Singular Stories episodes that I will post on Saturdays. It won't be every Saturday, but that's when I'll post them when I do. But I'm constantly researching fascinating stories. I love the history of baseball, and there's so many stories in the minor leagues and the majors and Japanese, you name it. Just awesome stories of some fascinating people, events, records, you name it. And I'm constantly, getting cards and different memorabilia and learning stories about these kind of guys. So I figured I might as well just share it with you guys. So I'm going to do one player or one, story per episode, and they'll be slightly shorter type episodes probably, but I'll post these on the occasional Saturday, and I just really have fun with this kind of thing, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. My first episode here is going to be on the first black baseball player in the Japan League, and it's a really fascinating story that was literally almost lost to time. So I really hope you enjoy it, so let's get started. This is the story of the first black baseball player to play professional baseball in Japan. It is a story almost, but not quite, lost to time. If it were not for a blog, a comment, some crack researchers, and a baseball-loving artist, this story may have never been told. Such an obscure story of a historically important player, yet the photo before you is one of the only known photos of him. The aforementioned baseball-loving artist is Gary Suradkowski. He writes in his blog, "Back in 2009, I became interested in Americans playing baseball in Japan. I knew that Japanese teams had imported American ball players as early as the 1950s, but I was wondering if there was any that appeared before the Second World War. After spending an afternoon in Los Angeles public libraries elbow deep in newspaper microfilm aided by Daniel E. Johnson's Japanese Baseball, a statistical handbook, I found out there were no less than 8 Americans playing in the Japanese Baseball League prior to 1941. My research attention quickly concentrated on Hawaiian-born Jimmy Horio, but I made sure to make a list of the other 7 pre-war American ball players for future stories. Among the other 7 in my notes was a pitcher/infielder named Jimmy Bana. Compared to the other players on the list, Bana had very abbreviated career, 9 2/3 innings over 4 games in 1936. I didn't think much about Bana again until 2013 when I came across a post on Gary Ashwill's Agate Type blog titled Early Black Ball Players in Japan. Gary's story focused on Johnny Britton and Jimmy Newberry, 2 black Americans who were recruited to play in Japan in 1952. Since 1952, it had been accepted that the pair were the first black ball players to play on a professional Japanese baseball team. However, in the comments section, Japanese baseball historian and author Rob Fitz threw a game-ending curveball when he wrote, "The first African-American player to play professionally in Japan was actually Jimmy Bana, who played in 7 games for the 1936 Dai Tokyo team. Although he hit .458, he did not stay with the team and had little impact on the history of Japanese baseball." And with that comment, a whirlwind of research began that brought together some of the best baseball historians and researchers around. Rod Nelson introduced a Medium.com article by Dexter Thomas Jr. called Japan's First Black Baseball Player that compiled the known details of Jimmy Bana's career. Then, official historian Major League Baseball John Thorne came up with the biographical lowdown on Bana using census records and passenger manifests. Author Bill Staples supplied a good record of the West Coast teams Bana/Bonner played with before going to Japan. Thanks to all of this all-star group of baseball researchers, Gary Ashwell combined all of the Bonner/Bonner information into a 2014 story titled Jimmy Bonner. The most important piece of research was the discovery of Jimmy Bonner's real name. James Everett Bonner, aka Jimmy Bonner, aka Jimmy Bana, how Japanese translated the name. So a lot of the information over there in Japan was under Jimmy Bana. A lot of the information here in the U.S. was under Jimmy Bonner. The researchers all had to combine all of this information to try to put together all the information they could about this man. Born September 18th, 1906 in Louisiana. Died May 10th, 1963 in California. He led a hard life, the fourth of 5 children. The parents divorced at a young age. His mom remarried, but then her husband died really young. Jimmy was working at age 13 as a courier for a drugstore. Jimmy began playing baseball in junior high, and by 1932 played as a utility man for the Shreveport Black Sports. He was 5'10", threw right, batted left, and later that year he moved to California and got married. In 1934 he played for the San Francisco Colored Giants, and in 1935 he joined the Oakland Black Sox. In 1936 he became a pitcher and played for the Berkeley Grays. He pitched so well, people even started calling him Satchel Jim. And he even once struck out 22 batters in a single game. And it was said that he had $1 million arm. But soon he would become the first black baseball player to play professional baseball in Japan. And 11 years before Jackie. Not only that, but he had to move to a whole new country to do so. Also, he had to deal with the teammates who made around 140 yen a month, while he would garner 400 yen a month. On September 8, 1936, a Japanese-American businessman named Harry H. Kono recruited Bonner to play for Dai Tokyo in its inaugural year in the newly formed Japanese Baseball League, the Japanese Occupational Baseball League, in 1936. By 1939, they would rename it the Japanese Baseball League, and by 1949, all the way through today, it would be known as Nippon Professional Baseball. The team suffered from lack of domestic talent, so Kono and the 400 yen a month convinced Bonner to make the leap to the Japanese League. He would arrive October 5th, 1936, to at least some media fanfare. He would play several positions, including pitcher, but would not fare particularly well on the mound or in the field. He would, however, hit an astounding .458 in 24 at-bats. He would only pitch in 4 games, going 0-1 with a 10.24 ERA in 9.2 innings pitched. It is speculated that the smaller strike zone due to smaller players, the smaller, more slippery balls, would contribute to his mound failures. He would return to the U.S. and become a porter for the Pullman Company while continuing to pursue his love of the game, playing baseball semi-professionally. He joined the Army in 1943 and would return to Pullman after the war, where he would continue to work until his death in 1963. The photocopy you see before you is from 1936, the year he broke the Japanese League barrier. You can find more info about Jimmy on Wikipedia and StudioGaryC.com. So this is a super cool website where Gary has all kinds of information on baseball players, and here is the folder that he puts these things in. But he makes special baseball cards. Here's his card, and I might do some more stories of players that he talks about, but I don't have any more of these at this point. This is the only one I've gotten, is the one about Jimmy Bonner. So it is an awesome website. He has tons of books. So what they do, they make these books like this, and they have stories of the ball players inside. And in the back, there's a slot to put the card. So as far as I know, with this super obscure story of an almost completely forgotten ball player that is super significant. He was the first black baseball player in Japan, and everybody gave credit to two other guys from 1952, all of these decades, until 2013, when all of this was discovered. But as far as I know, this is the only baseball card ever made. Yes, it's an art card, but it's the only baseball card ever made of Jimmy Bonner. Of course, we now know his name is Jimmy Bonner, but this is how he would have been referred to in Japan. And there's the information on the back. So that is a super cool card, and it goes in the back of that book. But that's the only card made of him. And as far as I know, that picture in front of you is one of the only pictures ever kept. So we know even what James Everett Bonner looks like. So kind of crazy, but I really wanted to get his story out there, because we talk about Jackie, we talk about a lot of these other guys, but this guy had to fly to a whole new country, deal with all kinds of stuff, and it was 1936. It was even 11 years earlier than Jackie that he was dealing with all of this. And then they had to pay him more than the players that were already over there to bring him over, because he was a rising star as a pitcher, and it didn't work out as a pitcher, even though he hit really well. He would only play over there for about a month and then come back to the States. But if it wasn't for some really interesting circumstances, his whole story would have been lost to time. It's just insane. But I'm so thankful for that blog and that commenter, and then for Gary to pick up on all this and get his story out there, so we can all have a card, we can all have a story, and we can all know who really was the first guy that went over there as a black player to play in the Japan League. Super, super cool, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Stay awesome out there, and we'll see you next time.